Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive global wealth engine. You know, when we think about the FIFA World Cup, we're usually picturing the ultimate sports spectacle, right? A solid month of absolutely incredible matches, packed stadiums, pure entertainment. But what if we look past the pitch? Well, you'll find an absolute powerhouse of a financial engine. Because behind all that hype and global media glare, there is something much, much bigger happening. Total urban transformation.
So, you've got to ask yourself, can a single football stadium actually transform an entire city? To wrap our heads around this, we need to completely shift our perspective. We have to stop looking at the World Cup as just a quick 30-day event. Instead, think of it as a long-term urban catalyst. When a city hosts a tournament of this scale, they aren't just putting up a place to play a game. No, they are literally setting the stage to pull in billions in investment, creating wealth opportunities that stick around long after the final whistle has blown.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. More than just football. Think of a World Cup host city kind of like a giant iceberg. The massive stadiums, the dramatic matches, the TV broadcasts reaching billions of viewers. That's just the tip, visible above the water. Beneath the surface, we're talking about millions of actual physical visitors flooding into these cities. And when that kind of unprecedented global spotlight hits a specific region, governments and major developers are practically forced to act. They have to get ready for the world stage, which means mobilizing staggering amounts of capital to support the whole shebang.
Let's zoom out from the grassy pitch for a second and look at the expanding urban grid. To handle this massive influx, cities pour absolute fortunes into unseen infrastructure. We're talking brand new highway networks carving right through the city, massive airport expansions, entirely new public transit systems, and endless rows of hotels. It's complete urban regeneration projects happening right alongside sweeping commercial and residential developments. So it turns out the stadium itself, it's really just the centerpiece of a much, much larger strategy. In a lot of cases, the World Cup becomes the ultimate excuse for local governments to finally hit the gas on major urban development projects. Things that might have normally taken decades to push through, they get condensed into just a few short years of really intense, hyper-focused preparation.
Which brings us to Section 2, the property value boom. Let's look at the engine below the water.
So the crucial point is, what happens when all that massive new infrastructure hits a neighborhood? Well, an inevitable economic chain reaction kicks off. Step 1, the infrastructure improves. Step 2, these previously overlooked areas suddenly become highly accessible. Step 3, businesses rush in, retail spaces pop up, and buyer demand wildly outpaces supply. And the final step, property values just absolutely surge. The areas surrounding these mega venues frequently see a massive, rapid spike in land values and rental demand. It's just simple logic.
Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand this point. People are not investing in the stadium itself. I mean, nobody's buying a ticket to live on the pitch, right? They're investing in the improved transportation, the booming economic activity, the better amenities, and the future growth potential surrounding it all. The stadium simply becomes this towering, visible symbol of confidence in that specific neighborhood's future.
Section 3, the 2026 World Cup effect.
And hey, we don't have to look back at history books to see this happening. We can watch it playing out live, right now, in the US, Canada, and Mexico as they gear up for 2026. If we compare the timeline, before the match versus after the whistle, we see two very distinct phases of economic growth. Before the match, the focus is entirely on smart investors preparing the ground and drawing in capital. But after the whistle, once the stadiums are built, the focus completely shifts to long-term tourism growth and massive hospitality expansion.
This actually reveals a golden rule of real estate. Capital flows long before the first match even begins. Smart investors are watching these host cities like hawks right now while preparations are underway. History proves, time and time again, that major international events pull in the smartest money and the biggest infrastructure upgrades way before the world's media even touches down at the airport.
Which leads right into Section 4, where to invest now.
And this brilliantly illustrates how individual investors can actually get in on the action. Let's break it down systematically. For real estate, the strategy is laser-focused. Target properties right near those new transport corridors and stadium developments. For short-term rentals, you want to position yourself to service that huge influx of event tourists. In hospitality, it's about leveraging that surge in visitor activity for food and events. And for commercial property, the really smart play is investing in the retail and office spaces that naturally sprout up in these brand new mixed-use entertainment districts.
Now, there is another highly sophisticated strategy you should know about, and it's called land banking.
This is essentially the practice of buying up land in developing areas before the major infrastructure projects are actually finished. You get in early, anticipating the massive future appreciation that's going to hit the second those new highways, train lines, and stadiums finally open to the public. You're basically buying the rumor to sell the news. It's a real high-level investor secret.
Section 5. Lessons for African cities.
Zooming back out to the global stage, for emerging markets, particularly African cities looking to replicate this kind of explosive growth, there's a critical lesson here. The goal is not the event. Let me repeat that. The goal is long-term development. The true opportunity isn't just throwing a massive 30-day party. It's about using these mega events strategically as a catalyst to create lasting jobs, build permanent infrastructure, and seriously stimulate the local economy for the residents who will still be living there long after the tourists have packed up and gone home.
To really lock in that lasting investment, these cities have to focus on the core catalysts for lasting wealth. They need to leverage the event to build world-class transportation networks, construct state-of-the-art sports facilities that can actually be repurposed later, and develop permanent tourism assets. When you tie all of that together with strategic urban planning, that's how you ensure the benefits keep rolling in for generations.
You know, there's a quote from our source material that really hit the nail on the head, and it's essentially the ultimate rule for successful global property investors. Here it is. Infrastructure frequently shapes future demand. Successful investors don't just look at where people are living today. They pay extremely close attention to where the infrastructure is being built for tomorrow.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to chew on. What infrastructure is shaping the property values in your own backyard right now? Think about it. The next time you're stuck in traffic because of roadwork, or you see a new train line or a massive sports venue going up in your city, don't just see it as an annoyance. Look deeper. Try to spot the hidden investment opportunities, the rising property values, and the urban transformation happening right in front of you. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep your eyes open for the engines driving the world around you.